This video is all about Camilla, and we'll be mainly taking a look at her pretty cool new axe. Now if you saw my last video about Hineka's spear, then you will already be familiar with Camilla's axe's effect. Both are actually very similar because if Camilla is within 2 spaces of a cavalry or flyer ally, then she gets +4 attack and speed during combat. Hineka likes infantry units, Camilla likes cavalry units, and both of them love flyer units. In my opinion, this is an okay stat boost for Camilla. She has a very balanced set of stats, but in the early days people did have complaints about her lowish attack stat when using her default Brave Axe. Camilla's axe is a 16 might weapon, so that's already 8 more attack than using her Brave Axe. With 32 speed, Camilla will be getting boosted up to 36 with her axe in effect, and that is quite alright for avoiding doubles and being able to double slow units. If you look at Camilla's neutral stat line, she has a decent 28 defense and the highest res for axe flyers at 31. That's not bad for a flying unit, and with the extra attack and speed, Camilla can afford to spec more into offense or build upon her natural defenses. Pretty much the definition of a jack of all trades stat line. Now if you refine Camilla's axe and choose the special effect, she will become a better team player. Camilla will grant +3 attack and speed to cavalry and flying allies within 2 spaces during combat. That sounds familiar, right? Well, basically, you can think of this effect as a mini version of gold cavalry and gold flyers combined into one. Since this is a combat buff, Camilla can actually stack these effects depending on what skills she takes. We'll be taking a look at what other possibilities there are for you to choose from. As with Hineka and her infantry based effects, Camilla's axe supports cavalry units probably because all of her siblings ride horses. Xander, Leo, and Elise are all cavalry based classes in Fates, and their base versions are the same in Heroes. Pretty cool comparisons, especially since Hineka and Camilla are the older sister counterparts for each kingdom. However, I don't see any cavalry Corrin ults just yet. I guess Camilla can hang out with some female Corrin, but I think Hineka might have the lead in this fight. Now let's cover what kind of buffing combos Camilla can set up by using her special upgraded axe. A reminder that Camilla's axe provides combat buffs which stack with other combat buffs and even with field buffs. Field buffs, however, do not stack with each other. Okay, so since Camilla can only buff cavalry and flying units, it makes sense to try out gold and ward flyers. If you take gold flyers as a C skill, which is easy to get, Camilla can buff flyer allies within 2 spaces by +7 attack and speed. Now we have a lot of buffing sacred seals to choose from, and it makes sense to go with a drive skill to match the 2 space effective range. You can add drive attack, and now she can buff her flyer allies with +10 attack just by being nearby. This isn't even including a potential honed flyers buff from another teammate, which would be +6 to both stats. Camilla's axe is here to showcase the power of stacking combat buffs. Since Shugure got demoted to the 4 to 5 star pool and he comes with ward flyers at 4 stars, people can now start adding ward flyers to their Fire Emblem squads. If you choose ward flyers as Camilla's C skill, then she is basically buffing all stats, +3 attack and speed and +4 defense and resistance. You also don't have to choose a drive sacred seal since the spur skills are also an option. Just remember, spurs only work on adjacent allies, so Camilla will need to be next to the target. Drive defense would probably be better and easier to use, but imagine if they released the mixed spur skills. With ward flyers, you could combine it with spur defense / res, maybe in the future, for +7 defense and resistance just as combat buffs. Maybe later on, this could be something to look out for. Now you don't have to run gold or ward flyers, although they synergize nicely with the axe. Honed flyers or even fortified flyers on Camilla could be an option if you want, since Camilla would be able to provide a bigger buff just by herself. Ideally, if you are running a flyer team, then your other units are also running emblem team buffs. If you have Hineka, Camilla can be an amazing secondary buffer since she can run multiple combat buffs that stacks on Hineka's honed flyers. Let's not forget that Camilla's axe also buffs cavalry units. She may not be able to run horse emblem team buffs, but Camilla can resort to tactic skills or even just regular drive or hone skills. I'm a big fan of res tactic with the defense tactic sacred seal because it's like a team-wide +6 fortified buff. Camilla's axe can grant a small attack and speed boost along with the +6 defense and resistance, which will be loved by any unit. If you want to run a 2 cavalry and 2 flyer mixed team, then this might be something you want to try. Res tactic as a C skill is the easiest to get from La Rochelle, but nothing wrong with attack or speed tactic as well. Just another example, speed tactic with drive attack can grant a big offensive boost to a unit thanks to all the stacking effects. If you want to run a flyer emblem team, then gold or ward flyers will probably be your best bet, but the tactic skills are available to complement a mixed team with cavalry units. Camilla has so many options to choose from, and it's going to depend on your other 3 teammates as to what stats you want her to buff. Go all in on attack and speed, or balance it out with some extra defense and resistance. Just make sure you meet all the requirements for each skill when you're making your team. For builds, it's just impossible for me to cover everything because as a unit, Camilla can run many different things. In these builds, I'm focusing on only using her axe, but she can run things like an emerald axe or a sling axe. For this one, I want to mention Fury because of her balanced stat line. Camilla won't be outright amazing as a player-faced powerhouse or a tanky wall, but Fury will probably ensure she stays alive in at least one fight. The focus is on keeping Camilla alive to pass on her buffs to the team. Similar to Hinoka with that extra +4 attack and speed, which is pretty easy to activate, Camilla can honestly run a lot of different skills. She can run Desperation if you can get her some speed buffs, or she can go for Quick Riposte, Vantage, Wings of Mercy, or a Breaker skill. Giving Camilla herself a Hone Flyers or Fortify Flyers will actually make it really hard to take her down. For build 2, it's still about buffing the team with the upgraded axe and your chosen buff combo. However, this time we are focusing on making Camilla a blue enemy specialist. This has been done before with an emerald axe and distant counter, but if you want to keep Camilla's axe, then you'll have to sacrifice distant counter. The standard Triangle ADEPT plus Breaker skill build is quite effective for Camilla because of her naturally balanced 28 defense and 31 resistance. Triangle ADEPT units would love to have a decent attack stat because it opens up one-shot opportunities, so the extra +4 attack from the axe is actually really nice. I would choose Axebreaker for coverage against green, although Lancebreaker might not be bad as well. If you do want to keep distant counter, then I actually think Camilla's axe could be a decent option versus using an emerald axe or a sling axe. With a plus res nature and instead choosing the res upgrade for her axe, Camilla can reach 38 resistance. Now this route is pretty selfish, and instead of buffing the team, Camilla can just get more stats for herself. Remember that even though the special upgrade is usually really strong for these unique weapons, you can still refine them with flat stat boost. It does cost Divine Dew, however Camilla's axe granting the extra attack and speed might be worth it. Remember that Camilla has the highest res stat for axe flyers, so if you want a green flying mage tank, she is probably the best choice. I'm not going to say Camilla's axe is the best weapon to pair with distant counter, but I do think it can be viable if you don't want to inherit another weapon. All in all, if you do use Camilla's axe and go for the special upgrade, she can become a pretty neat buffer who can stack a ton of combat buffs. Obviously she is limited to cavalry and flyer allies, but she can use the tactic buffs or the emblem team buffs to good effect. If you wanted a buffing teammate, Camilla has so many customization options, and all of it is going to depend on the rest of the team. As for Camilla herself, she is a jack of all trades type unit. With her balanced stats, she can run offensive builds, defensive builds, or try to build for both. As a 4 to 5 star unit at launch and now a 3 to 4 star unit, Camilla is much more available than someone like Hinoka. She may not be as important for a flyer team core like Hinoka with her spear and Hone Flyers, but Camilla with or without her axe makes for a good unit to plug and play for any Fire Emblem team. With her versatility in build choice and the ability to buff in a wide range, I think Camilla can find her place on many different teams. Last, I do think Camilla's axe is a decent enough weapon on its own without the special upgrade. It's better than the Brave Axe on the enemy phase, and you get a 16-my weapon with a potential extra +4 attack and speed just by spending SP. Divine Dew and even Feathers are a rare commodity, and it's not possible to grab every unique weapon upgrade in the game. While I do think +3 attack and speed for allies can make a difference, it's understandable that buff may not be worth it to everyone. If you aren't looking to spend a huge amount of resources on Camilla, I would suggest checking out the Triangle ADEPT route or keeping her natural darting blow. That's it for this video, and since Camilla is so much easier to get, I'd love to see how you guys may have built her. Her axe is a nice weapon to choose from, but Camilla can afford to run other things without feeling like she is getting outclassed. For the next video, we won't only be talking about Shugure specifically, but we are going to be discussing one of his best builds. Next time we are talking about Fire Sweep Flyers. See you guys then.